there's two things, I guess, that were brought up by what you described. And the first is the terminology of truth. Now, Harris's claim with regards to my utilization of truth was that I was absconding with the definition of truth in a false manner. But he was wrong, because the idea of truth is much older than the idea of objective truth. And the original notion of truth wasn't objective true. It was like the arrow flies straight and true. Right, and it meant something like reliably on its way to the appropriate destination, something like that. And when Christ said, "I am the truth and the way," I can't remember the other. Yes. The truth he was talking about wasn't an objective truth. So Sam's idea that I had somehow, taken the idea of truth that was actually objective all along and done something crooked with it is just wrong. It's wrong.
Well, so truth can have multiple definitions.
Well, that's
so maybe
that's the issue, and that's exactly what we're trying to get at here. Is like to me there's two kinds of truth, and they may be commensurate. You may be able to stack them on top of one another, but now and then they dissociate, and this is actually what Brett was referring to as well. So, and this is where it gets so complicated that I can barely manage it. There's the truth that manifests itself in the manner in which you act. And there's the truth that manifests itself as a representation of the objective world. And sometimes both those truths are stacked on top of each other. And sometimes they're not. So like I could give you a piece of wisdom that would work well if you acted it out, that carried within it an inaccurate representation of part of the objective world. And you could say, well, maybe that's actually the case with the biblical stories, because if you read them as science, they don't read well.
So let's take malaria as a good example. Malaria, the root of the word is mal-area, bad air, right? Malaria is not transmitted by bad air. It's transmitted by mosquitoes that live in places where you might think the air is bad. So the point is it's part of the way there. Right?
Yeah, that's a good one. And that also gets, see, there's another weird distinction here and that I was trying to draw with Sam, but that's a really tricky one. And we augured in because we started to talk about pragmatism, but there's also something like the truth of a description and the truth of a tool. And my sense is that people's fundamental truths are tool-like. We use them to function properly in the world. And you could say, well, a sharp axe is more true than a dull axe. And actually, you can use the word true in that sense. That actually is an appropriate use of the word. There are tool truths and there are objective fact truths. Now, and in the optimal circumstance, those map onto each other. But we're not smart enough often to make them map onto each other because we just don't know enough. And there are lots of truths that we have that portray the objective world improperly that are still true.